Google Forms now accepts payments. The Payable Forms add-on allows for seamless integration of a digital checkout with your Google Forms. Install the Payable Forms add-on, link your payment provider, share, and get paid. Your customers can use Apple Pay, Google Pay, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover, Cash App, Venmo, and more. Save time and hassle by automating your payment process quickly and simply. Payable Forms gets you paid.
From Colonel Sam Smith Park on the campus of Humber College, a thin slice of heaven on the banks of Lake Ontario in Toronto, this is the 2024 AFL Transatlantic Cup, brought to you by Payable Apps. We have already seen one semi-final in the men's division completed. The Irish Warriors await the winner of this second semi-final between old rivals, the USA Revolution and the Canada Northwind. These two teams have played 18 times. The USA have won 17. All of that means absolutely nothing, because all that stands between these two teams in the finals is 80 minutes of Australian rules football. G'day, everyone. I'm Brian Barish. Great to have your company, joined by the man from Nova Scotia and Pat McNeil. And Pat, whenever Canada and USA, as we said, get together, it is always a memorable affair. In spite of that record, there's always been close games between the two teams.
Absolutely. Lots of close games throughout their history. It doesn't matter the sport. It's always a great rivalry. And, of course, ironically, the Canadian men might take inspiration from the American women who defeated Team Canada despite a drought of success there heading into this tournament.
Canada did not win a game in the pool stage, but because they are grouped essentially by continent, they snuck in to the semifinals on the Vision Glass Toronto standings. The USA, the only team with any wins and a winning record in Group A. We got a number of really good players to take a look at. Here's our Payable Apps players to watch.
Yeah, Clyde Simpson, veteran for Team USA. I actually think he was the flag bearer for Team USA. He is from the Columbus Cats, 37 years old, veteran of the international game, as is Kyle Graham for Team Canada, another veteran. He is 44 years old. He's played all the way back to the 2011 Transatlantic Cup.
And your keys to the game brought to you by eThere Live. Going to be very, very important for these two teams.
Yeah, it's all about positivity for the USA. Get everybody involved, hands on the ball. And if they do get up on Canada, as they could potentially do based on round robin form, maybe get some rest. Of course, Canada's got nothing to lose based on the round robin standings. Use the middle corridor and throw the magnets around. That means rotations, change players' positions as need be.
Let's go to the third member of our broadcast team. It's a very good afternoon to David Smith.
Thank you, gentlemen. After a morning of a lot of rain, the sun has come out here at Humber College. Walked around the ground a little bit. Some very mucky parts, but some have dried up. So it's going to be certainly something we'll have to be concerned about in this game.
Thank you, David. Yeah, the conditions are going to play a factor here, and now that the rain has stopped, it is muggy. But a lot of these players, especially those from the east coast of the U.S., are used to it. Canada in all red, the U.S. in all white. Let's go Revos. Let's go Northwind. Let's go Pat McNeil.
It is indeed myself with the call to start this game, as the tap is won initially by Team USA. Ball in the middle of the field. It'll come back to American hands. Again, as Brian said, U.S. in white ball. Kicked forward 50 USA as it's in Canadian hands now. That Team Canada Northwind is on the run. Booted across the face there by Mason Shoebridge. Nice clean mark for Canada to start, as that is moved forward down the line. There's a boot off of Canadian feet. It'll come out to, that is Tersini, as ball is in dispute. And a quick tackle. Looks like the U.S. will get a chance to play on here.
And it will go. Looks like it'll be Josh Curtis. Check that. That's Eric Anderson, who was a Powerwood player of the game in the last game. Swings it out to the far side where he finds Sam Gigliotti. Gigliotti with the left foot boot. Goes up that wing position. Looking for Livy, who saw the ball stop it dead in its tracks. Pitchfork handball up over the top. Looks and finds McGettigan. Turns this one in looking for McClure. And Mark the Monster McClure, a.k.a. Stork, all 6'8" of him, is going to go back and try for the first score of the game 90 seconds in.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for Canada to have an answer for McClure. His hands are up in those contests. Tough to combat the height of the former draft pick of the Boston Red Sox. He played in this ground of the 2022 Parallel Cup. He's got a chance to make an impact from just outside that 50-meter arc as he slinks into the 50 meters. He's got a long boot on him. It goes up, 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 and is that through. It's a major score, it looks like, for Mark McClure. It is a goal. USA 1-0. No score, Canada. First blood goes to USA in the Payable app scoreboard.
And Stork's such a great story, Pat, because he was ticketed to go to the 2017 AFL International Cup, and he did his ACL in the Eastern Conference and the Eastern Region Championships of the USAFL just about a month before. And boy, he has a lanky run-up, and he has a lot of leg into it and puts it right through the middle. So first score of the game, but plenty of time to go. USA, you would tend to think, would have to be favored with those 2 wins in that history, but Canada has always played them tough. Ball in the air once again. Gets knocked forward. Everybody got high, and we have illegal contact in the contest, and just getting his knee up was the ruck there for Canada. It will be Sam Murphy of the LA Dragons. This is Murphy. A lot of tall options for the U.S. Murphy has done very good in the ruck, and it's going to get picked off. Going back the other way now. Up the far side they go. With that is Tyler Schwartzentruber, who I believe might be related to Jeremy Schwartzentruber, who played in the 49th Parallel Cup for the U.S., for Canada, back in 2015. Ball goes up on the far side. Nice diving mark taken over the shoulder there by David Cook. Cook with the football now in his back right pocket, or check that. That is Stephen Walker of the 34, sending that one along the line and finds Lucas Rathgeb as Canada starts to string them together on the Lake Ontario side.
Rathgeb, but pretty distinct with the blonde flow. He's got to kick it along the right side. Ball comes to Canadian hands, and no prior opportunity, it looks like, their tackle by Team USA. That is going to lead to the ball going in the umpire's hands as we're about 60 minutes left. I think the clock is a little bit behind here, but again, that's always unofficial. That's the scorekeepers that keep the official time for the game as ball is loose on the ground, and again, things getting congested. We talked about earlier, Brian, the weather, the sun is up, but the ground probably still a little wet.
Yeah, it's going to be like that for a while here, and it might even affect the matches tomorrow. Of course, it'll be a consolation day tomorrow, but you do want to join us. Going up high is Tim Linfelt, the oldest player on the team at 41, and it wasn't a mark, so he's got to play on quickly. Does so to Luke Meyer, who dropped the pill. No call there, however. There goes Simpson after the football. Meyer goes back to Ryan McGettigan, throws that one onto the left foot. This one goes up high, and getting held off the ball there, and a free kick is Sam Murphy. Murphy, who played with the West Perth Falcons, played American football at the University of Connecticut, and this is his first time in tournament competition. He was on the tour of Ireland, but he turns it over there once again to Tyler Schwartzentruber. Schwartzentruber has the football on the wing side. 5 gone first term, USA with a major through McClure. Going to send this one down the line. This one will go up high, gets knocked down off the hand of Gigliotti, and then going and it's going to be a whistle. I think that was high contact first, but they've played on. Now they are going to call this back. Should be a free kick, and in fact, we'll have to see where the location is, Pat.
Yeah, Canada hasn't had much of, if any, of forward 50 play thus far. It has been a hot start for Team USA, but it is only a 1-goal difference, so the Canadians are very much alive here. Of course, they're looking to shake off that round-robin performance. They do have home field advantage here at Humber College. Ball goes skyward, contest up in the ruck, and USA hands will pick it up. Comes back out now along the right side. It is going to be scooped up there by Team USA's Daniel Livy. A nice handball option along the right side. America attack is on here as Del Campo will send it down. Ball comes in to the hands of Tyler Schwartzentruber, one of the best names in this tournament. Plays for the Grand River Gargoyles in the Guelph area. He'll kick it for Ian Euler of the Halifax Dockers, who couldn't quite reel that in. He's feeling the pressure from Del Campo. USA now in possession.
And they work it back now to Mason, who just gets away there from the man in Walker, sending this one down the line and finds Julian David. David from the Sacramento Suns has the peen if he wants him on the hard around. Decides to send this one in towards the goal sticks. Just fading to the right, has a bounce in front. Gonna get stopped, gonna get picked this one up, going around his Linehan. Shark got taken down, or rather he slipped, going all the way back. Going to go and picking that one up again was Jacob Gross. Gross decides to go for a goal, and I think he's got it. Yes, sir, Bob. Goal to Jacob Gross of the Des Moines Roosters, and the U.S. have kicked 2 straight with 6.5 gone here in the first term. U.S. up 12-0.
Yeah, it is 2-0. 2-0-12. No score, Canada on the Payable apps scoreboard. Some nice work there, getting that kick straightened out by Jacob Gross of the Des Moines Roosters.
And the Roosters, you mentioned your club in Sydney, the Giants, a club that has maybe had one Australian in all of its history. Well, the Des Moines Roosters have been around since 2009, and that's been the case. It's been a largely American outfit, and I think of some of the players like Hamilton May and Ben Judge who have come through this national team side. A lot of talent there in Iowa.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Nice to see that as well. Nice to see true growth of the game in the quote-unquote non-traditional markets like ours, as we will get a ball up following the goal as Team Canada again trailing. This is the second semifinal. Again, it is Canada in red, kicking right to left on your screen towards the Toronto, and Team USA is in white with the blue shorts. They are kicking to the Visit Mississauga, and you absolutely should visit Mississauga with its hundreds of must-see experience, plenty of gorgeous scenery, world-class seats and events. Mississauga is yours to explore. Game on here for USA. Ball into the forward 50. Chasing after it was McClure. He's been a real dominant presence. He got his hands on it, but the play will be halted as there was a battle between McClure on the boundary with Stephen Walker, who plays for the Hamilton Wildcats in Ontario, AFL Ontario, easy for me to say.
Yeah, and the women's, try saying that 10 times fast with a mouthful of mashed potatoes. Picked up by McClure off of one step, and he goes bang! 3 in a row to start the game for the USA Revolution. That's Stork's second on the Payable app scoreboard with about 11 and a half to go in the first term. USA coming out firing. 3 straight 18, Canada no score. An opportunistic play there by McClure to pick up the ball, and we'll actually check it again and tell you that it was off the foot of Dan Livy, and I assume that was Stork just because of his height, but it was Dan Livy. So Livy has one to go along with McClure's one, and we're back in the middle once again. And his team has been playing. We'll actually check that for a little bit. Let's head quickly down to the boundary and David Smith.
Bit of injury concern for Canada. They're looking at his shin ankle.
All right, we lost David right there. It sounds like the shin of Schwartz and Truber. They're looking on. We'll keep an eye on it and stick with Dave in just a moment.
Team Canada in possession, defensive 50, ball goes skyward. Of course, you can see the wet conditions. It's bright and sunny. You wouldn't know that there had been rain, but if you're on the ground, you certainly know it, as that is pushed forward on the handball there by McKinney. Ball on the wall, and it's going to come out in towards the 450 for Team USA, who wants it. Tap out there by a Canadian player. That will lead to the ball going out of bounds. That should be the umpires on the boundary.
We mentioned the Roosters, the number 15 in there, and Josh Curtis, as you see Max DePina going up against Mason Shoebridge. That's another good name. A lot of good names on this Canadian team. And Robbie Inkpen is another one, the man they call Squid. Of course, we have our own Squid, and Emma Wewell, who is here as the team manager for Team USA. High tackle, free kick to Livy. It is Livy, Gross, and McClure. Those are the 3 goal kickers so far. There's the kick in to the top of the guts, punched away into the hands again of Gross, who just got his hand to the football. Going after and picking up. There's Stork as he lost the football, and then kicking this one back out to this direction. 2-on-1 for the USA. Nice mark by Gabriel Martin Del Campo. He will find Livy. Little grubby kick in, but almost playing shortstop there was the defender, and Canada will release down the middle of the ground in a hurry.
Big boot through the middle as that's Victor Cinco who's got the ball for Canada. He was a late addition to the proceedings. He's trying to battle along the ground with the hands as that the game has been ground to the ground here as we're about to halfway through this first quarter. Ball kicked along the right boundary. Team USA marked completed cleanly there by Josh Curtis of the before-mentioned Des Moines Roosters. Curtis right in front of our there live broadcast location. He'll boot it along the right side. Ball goes way up skyward. Intercept mark Team Canada in the defensive 50. That is a key defensive possession here for Team Canada. Looking to shake off a bit of a rough start as USA up 18-0. But should note as well that Canada getting the key veteran Jim Ortel drawing back into the lineup after missing the early part of the tournament.
Gets taken down. Good spoil in there. Good spoil in there, and we'll check this first here and show there'll be a free kick to Canada. Back to the boundary, and David Smith.
Schwarzenegger is up and testing his legs, so he might be coming back in the game, still to be determined. Back
into the middle of the ground once again as that was Curtis who goes across. Here's Gigliotti. Gigliotti, left-footed kick. This one is going to be short, 2-on-2 contest, and punch through. He concede the behind and through for 1 point. First blemish on the resume for this game for the USA Revolution with 8.5 to play. It's the Revos 3-1-19. Canada no score. Brian Barish alongside Pat McNeil, whose voice you're going to hear now.
Canada with a possession in the defensive 50. Player down on the field. A number of players down. Don't think there's anything too serious there. Contest along the ground. The umpire looking to see if the players can sort it out. I think we're going to get a ball up out of this. A reminder, this is the second semifinal. Winner of this game goes on to take on Team Ireland. That will take place on Sunday. The loser will take on Colombia. Ball kicked by American feet, comes out towards the goal square. I think that was Nyson that was after for Team Canada. Ball is along the ground. Pardon me, that's Trent Loosemore, the co-captain. Ball is available if somebody can pick it up. Again, a tough contest on the ground. We hear the umpire's whistle once more.
And a few of these guys will be familiar. Well, they're familiar with a lot of them because a lot of them come down and play at Nationals. But Trent Loosemore does actually play. He plays with the Burnaby Eagles, but they have, for BC AFL play, combined with the Seattle Grizzlies this year. And in fact, they have Loosemore and a couple of other players have come down to play for Seattle in USAFL play. As you see the ball, Lucas Rathgeb, who knocked that one out of bounds. Rathgeb out of the Toronto Rebels, 27 years of age, making his international debut at this tournament. As the sun comes out, it is getting a little bit warmer out and a little bit more muggy or twiggy or Friday, whatever you want to call it. There is McClure. Drop the pill. Going after it is David. A lot of red jumpers there. They're able to clear this one out. Del Campo was on his horse. So too was McKinney, who came flying like a bat out of you-know-where. He's going to handball it over. Here is Martin Del Campo off the right side of the boot. One-on-one contest. Cleared everybody, but took a wicked off-break and bounces in between the big stick and the little stick. Another point for the USA. On the Payable app scoreboard, about 6.5 to go. That's an unofficial clock. USA 3-2-20. Canada, no score. Brian Barish and Pat McNeil.
Minor score for U.S. It is 20-0. Canada looking for a spark here, and they haven't had much in terms of possession in the Toronto end of the field. That is what they're looking for, is Greg Bridges, who came back from Australia for this tournament, played his club football with the Ottawa Swans, playing in Australia right now. Ball is tapped out, and it should be a boundary throw-in. Of course, Greg Bridges actually started playing in Halifax with the Dockers, but he is from Ottawa. Ottawa Swans, who, of course, their jumpers somewhat resemble Team Canada's. They're fairly well represented on this team. Of course, the great thing about watching Canada and the USA, both of these teams with representation from coast to coast.
And not only that, they've got jumpers you can pick out, and also their numbers do not blend in with their jerseys. Thank you so much. Ball comes spinning back in the play. USA on the front foot once again. Gross is there. The ball will go out of bounds. Got a decent crowd building now that the rain has gone away. And I know that the Canada Northern Lights women's team, some of them are here watching. Contingent from the USA to the Toronto side to our left. And, of course, USA kicking to the visitmississauga.ca end as a big hit put in there once again by Stephen Walker. And the ball is still in dispute. It is cryogenically frozen in there just like Walt Disney's head. And we'll have a ball up about 50 meters out. USA leads 20-0. These two teams played a year ago in Racine, Wisconsin, and the U.S. held on, and I mean held on to a 4-point victory. It looked like Canada was going to come from behind, but the team and what turned out to be Tom Ellis's last game as coach before he stepped down was a U.S. victory as Walker sends this one along the line. Going after and get it is Rabbit Hutchings. This is Kendall Hutchings, also the Sacramento Suns. Plays this one in the middle, and plucking that one off a blade of grass was Rob Munn of the Seattle Grizzlies.
Kicks into the 450, into the pocket. No mark to be had there. Ball goes along the ground. Does stay in bounds. USA on attack. Canada on the defense. Here's USA looking to visit Mississauga.ca as that ball kicked towards the goal and nobody able to pick it up. Looks like it's going to find Canadian hands. There's pressure by the USA, and that almost was an intercept mark there, as that is Del Campo, I think, that's got the ball. He'll take a kick for goal. Goes up, and that's through. That's a goal for Gabe Martin Del Campo. The Los Angeles Dragons played on this ground in the Parallel Cup 2 years ago. His team was victorious on that day, and their case gets stronger. USA 4-2-26. No score. Canada. Payable app scoreboard.
And they are cheering for him back home in Pasadena. This is a great look by Kendall Hutchings to find Munn in the middle of the ground, and then found the work to the play over to Martin Del Campo, who throws this one onto the right. If he looks strong, that's because he owns an F-45 gym. His wife is actually from Canada, and he's also a rugby player. He does play rugby union, but of late he's also played in rugby league. There's a pretty significant rugby league competition in Southern California. We have a center square infraction, and in fact we do have a, well, he's getting up slowly there, is Tyler Schwartzentruber, and he will be okay, it seems.
It's actually
like
Lucas Rathgeb, it looks like.
I got the 3 and the 4 mixed up.
Although, as we talked about, Schwartzentruber was having some troubles earlier, so hopefully we see him back.
All right, ball up once again. Secondary ball up, and it's Rob Munn in the ruck. This is the first time we've seen him. It looks like Murphy getting a little bit of a break. They find Livy, who'll go out to the near side. Simpson splashing through the wing. Gets away from one defender. Finds Derek Shotwell. Shotwell goes inside 50. Who's there? Almost taking the mark over the top was Linehan. But there is the peanut of crumb. Gets around. Looks for a handball. Not the the greatest of handballs, but it stays in play as he went looking again for Gross. And the USA looking very fluid so far with 3 to go here in the first term, up 26.
Yeah, dream start for the Americans, no doubt about that. They're taking advantage of all their opportunity as we are going to get a boundary throw in at the end of the field. Again, that is the visitmississauga.ca end of the field, which you absolutely should do. Ball's up in the air. Who wants it? McClure is in the ruck. Boy, that's a towering challenge to deal with if you're Team Canada. Ball on the left side. Of course, so these two teams would have some of the bigger ruckmen with Greg Lehman there for Canada. Canada appealing for a free kick. I think they were asking for a high tackle, and that is going to be a Canadian free kick as they'll have an opportunity to belt it out of the defensive 50. As I think that's Walker that's got it. He'll send that skyward. Who wants it? Comes up to American hands at first as it's booted off Jacob Gross's boot. And a hand will be on it. The ball will go to play. Gross had a goal earlier, but not on that occasion.
Not on that occasion. This is the 5th time that the USA Revolution have played at this field. And in fact, it looks like it looks like a free kick has been awarded. So this is Mike Linehan from the Austin Crows. See if anybody presents for him or if he's just going to back himself. And he's told to hurry it up, and he will stride in. This is all Linehan, and, well, there is a Shankopotamus on the loose. And that one has gone out of bounds on the full for Mike Linehan. So just to finish the thought, this is the 5th time that these two teams have played. The first time was in 2000 and what was called the Can-Am Cup, will later become the 49th Parallel Cup. Last time, of course, was 2 years ago, and the U.S. came away with the victory then. Ball bounces into the hands of Munn. Look, long hand back, not to anybody in particular. Going to get picked up. Shoulder off the ball there was Giolotti, sending that one down in the middle of the ground, off of a Canadian shin. Going to go back again as Munn. This is the most Munn's played, at least he's been involved in the game in some time. Going to get picked up by Dan Livy. Says, let's go back to go forward. Finds Javon Mason. Good play by the Americans here as they find Rabbit Hutchings. Hutchings is going to send this one forward. Big left foot boot. This one's going to be sent down. Going to bounce up in front. Going over and into the pocket and going out of bounds there in front of Mike Linehan. And we'll have a boundary throw in with less than a minute to go here in the first term. U.S. still up 26-0.
Yeah, deep in the first quarter, Canada's going to look for something, anything to take positively. Ideally for them, be marching up the field and getting a score, but just to get a run of the play, maybe get another inside 50. I think there's been 1 or 2, if that, in this first quarter. Ball on the ground, soccered by Team USA, goes way up in the air. Some impressive height on that ball. It's picked up with the hands there of the American Aaron Gray. Now comes forward 54, the U.S. handball option executed. Ball on the ground. Greg Bridges is in the contest there for Canada, and players can't sort that out. Umpire will do so, and again, we think our clock might be a little bit behind, so likely quarter time coming up. It's still time, and right now it will be the Americans pressing for a goal.
Trying to squeeze one more out of this, one more bit of juice out of this orange here in the first term. It's been a dream start, as Pat said, but this game is 4 quarters long. And the ball gets knocked down. Going to get picked up by Phillips, but right there to take it away was Rethke. As he goes through. Little stabby kick through the middle of the ground. Does he have a connection? No. Good spoil from behind there by, I believe that was McGettigan. May have been Anderson who snuck up. And then here comes Simpson having trouble with the football. Comes out to the near side looking for Hutchings. Hutchings has it. Steps back on 1 foot. Goes this one in and finds Martin Del Campo, or check that. That is Aaron Gray, who has come in from the Boston Demons, began his career with the Denver Bulldogs. In fact, went to the grand final with them against Austin. That one has gone through. Going to get picked up quickly. They got to hurry. This Tersini goes down the middle of the line. We're in time on, and it's picked up by Anderson, who has snuck up from his fullback position. He goes out to the left side now. See if we has one. Nope, it won't matter as the siren goes, and that ends the quarter. Well, all one-way traffic in this first term as the U.S. kicking towards what was the scoring end in the women's game yesterday. And at the end of 20 minutes of play, it's the Revos 4-2-26. The Northwood no score. Canada went really from the beginning. They've been on the back heels. They've had some good, some bits of play, but the U.S. doing a good job of not allowing them to penetrate that halfback flank.
Yeah, no action in that forward 50 towards the Toronto end whatsoever. Canada a bit shell-shocked by the start of the U.S. They just have to regroup and not really focus right away on winning the game in the second quarter. Just try to chip away at things. If you win this quarter, you have yourself in position to get back into the contest. That has to be the Canadian concern right now. Just get some good possessions, get some good ball movement going, and see where it can take you.
Goal scorers, we'll try that again, all for the USA. Jacob Gross, Daniel Livy, Gabe Martin Del Campo, and Mark McClure. We're going to take a quick break and come back for the second quarter of this one. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the 2024 AFL Transatlantic Cup presented by Payable Apps.
Great news, sports teams. Google Forms now accepts payments. The The Payable Forms add-on allows for seamless integration of a digital checkout with your Google Forms. Setup is easy. Install the Payable Forms add-on. Link your payment provider, share, and get paid. Players can use Apple Pay, Google Pay, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover, Cash App, Venmo, and more, streamlining the process for them, all while you stay organized with real-time updates. Registrations, uniforms, races, sponsorship, clinics, coaching, training, and classes. Keep it simple with Payable Forms.
Second quarter about to get underway as the team's breaking out of their quarter-time huddle here in the second semifinal of the 2024 AFL Transatlantic Cup presented by Payable. We're on the men's division, and the USA has the lead. Let's see what the coaches have been talking about with our boundary rider, that's something else, David Smith.
As you would expect, the Revolution pretty happy with that first quarter. They're just concerned about a let-up. They don't want any sort of the play to be going down. They want to continue what they've been doing. The big word for Canada was lift. They want to lift their game, and they still have belief, but they need to lift their game to have a chance in this one.
Yeah, they really do. Thanks, David. And look, this is it. As we said, we've seen a lot of ebb and flow in these games. This is Pat McNeil, by the way, alongside me, Brian Barish. The key is that you have to play 4 quarters here. And we've seen in the last International Cup in 2017, these two teams played, and Canada actually had a 1-point lead heading in, but then the USA just turned momentum. And if it wasn't for that 1/3 quarter, it probably would have been a lot closer, or Canada would have won that game. But it's about playing 4 quarters of football, and in this heat, it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I'm not sure if that favors or deters a comeback, perhaps. And the old cliche goes, well, if they score 26 on us in the first quarter, what can we do to them? We can do the same in the second quarter. I said Canada doesn't have to worry about that right now. Just worry about playing good football in this second quarter. If you win the quarter, so to speak, things might take care of themselves. So we'll see what they can do to try to turn the tide. And they are playing at home. They do know this ground very well, although, as we've said, some of the Americans have played here quite a bit as well.
Yeah, as we mentioned, this is the 5th time these two teams have played here at Humber College, going all the way back to 2000. My old Philadelphia Hawks line mate, Ryan Kavanaugh, used to say, get the first one, then get the second one, and that's what they have to do right here. Again, a reminder, the winner of this will play Ireland in the grand final on Sunday afternoon at 1:45 p.m. Eastern Time. The loser will have a consolation match. They'll get to play Colombia, which sounds like fun, but you're not playing for a championship, so there's only so much we can do. Is Chris Stokes in your picture there? The umpire is ready, and so are we. Second quarter action here with Pat McNeil.
Ball is up, and the second quarter is underway. Ball bouncing along the ground here. Team USA in possession. Again, Team USA will kick the Toronto end this time. Team Canada will be kicking towards the visitmississauga.can. Team USA in possession. Nice moves there, courtesy of Zach Taylor. They call him moves. Kick to a free kick. What a marker. Pardon me, that was Aaron Gray with the nice kick, and that is marked. I think that's McClure as well. Mark was on the mark.
Yeah, McClure on the mark, and he's been the tall target. What's great about McClure, he was a ruck, especially with his home club, the Columbus Cats, but they've done a good job of moving him into the forward line. And, when you have a guy who's almost, 6 feet 8 inches tall, he's going to present a sort of target there. But most importantly, he has really good hands.
Yeah, and we'll see what kind of leg he's got as well. We saw that in action in the first quarter. We see the walk up. Boot goes up, up, up. And does that have the distance? Is that going to be going through? Yes, it's a major score. Mark McClure has done it again for Team USA. And they get the start they're looking for. It goes 5-2-32. No score Canada on the Payable app scoreboard.
And Stork, I think that's one of the things, Columbus has always been a team that's kind of been around that Division II, kind of Division III. But one thing I know, and this comes from playing against them even 10 years ago, they're a team that always plays very tough. They use their height, they use their strength. You see out there Clyde Simpson out there, and he's an embodiment of that as well. Ball is in the middle once again, pops up straight up in the air. And after all this rain, Pat, they're going to have to repaint all those again. Emerging from the pack is Brady Walker. Walker sends this one inside. Here's the first opportunity, running out the back, and that was touch. No, it was over the line first. Umpire immediately signaled that it was touch. Now, I think they're going to double check this. And that's umpire Di Filand. She did put her hand, but they are going to confirm with the boundary umpire. We have the Pope on standby. Tim Wall says he's ready and raring to go.
Now, if this was an actual AFL contest, Brian, we'd have scores, review, decision on the scoreboard. And it is done. Did that go off the foot late? And that's what exactly happened. It looked like Matteo Lugarini of the Toronto Dingoes got a late boot on that.
And they needed that one, much like you need some water to get through this day. So, Payable app scoreboard, Canada goes to 1-6. They got a quick reply there. Let me tell you, they needed that one. They needed that one badly. As we head back into the middle once again, there were you could see 3 faint outlines of the circle. They were using the 2 in the middle on the either side alternatively during the group stage, just to make sure, because we are playing 30 games total. And once again, Walker, who set up that goal so well. And that might, by the way, be a Payable Apps goal of the tournament, as that one is kicked along the ground. Going to get sent back from which it came. Here's Tersini, who's a veteran. He played in that 2015 Parallel Cup. Had a rough go of it, kicking in the Florida Heat at the cricket ground in Lauderhill. Looking to go down the ground once again. Going to send this one by. Oh, big crash in there. And hopefully nobody gets hurt, as Walker ended up with the football, and that was that looked like someone went on the red light, and in fact the ball has gone out of bounds. We'll have a boundary throw in. You know what? There was an element of danger in this game, and you could see Livy going in there. That just was good hard footy going after the football.
Yeah, heavy collision for sure. Let's see if Walker can have an impact in this game. Of course, Canada getting that key goal, but the ball's going back towards the Toronto end. Team USA on the attack in white. Ball goes dribbling. It is on Canadian hands of Rob Tersini. Veteran, plays in Toronto. Of course, he's very familiar with this field. Handball option executed. Handball to space. There was no Canadian player there. Now USA possession is on. Handball, Canadians with numbers there, but it does find an American target. Ball comes back towards the forward 50 for Team USA. It goes bouncing along the ground, dribbling towards that 50-meter arc, and it'll dribble out of play, as that was being watched there by the American Julian David.
Julian David, we mentioned it a couple of times, but we'll mention it again. New dad, his son Evander, born to him and his wife Bianca. Bianca, a pretty fair football player in her own right for the Sacramento Sun women's team, as the ball comes spinning back into play. Good hit out there by Nyston. Was a good player in the Parallel Cup game last year, and this one gets sent high and sailing Christopher Cross style. And I was going to say, speaking of the wind, they are going towards the Bob Seeger end, because they are kicking against the wind right now. As you see, Gabe Martin Del Campo, the number 23 we mentioned from the Orange County Giants. They are represented by himself and also by Eileen Yoon and Delfina Delgadillo on the Freedom side. It is a free kick, and Nyston will play on quickly. Watched by Gray, sending this one down the line, and Murphy, rather, that was Proctor, who said, and is he going to get they are going to pay him the mark. Swings it out to the far side now, having a bounce. Looking up is Livy. Livy looking down the ground, looking for DePina to bites at the cherry, couldn't swallow it, and spit out the pit. Ball goes to ground. The ball is in Defina's feet. Big tackle laid on there by Mason. Going after the football now is Linehan, and it is a little bit of a wrestling match, and the umpire has come in. Now, was the ball tied up? It sounds like it was, and we'll have a ball up on the Lake Ontario / Lake Holden side, or Lake Ontario to Electric Boogaloo, if you prefer.
Yeah, indeed. We're just a little more than 5 minutes into quarter number 2 here. Canada trailing the USA. Semifinal winner goes on to take on Ireland, who defeated Great Britain earlier today. Ball in American hands here. Forward 50 action for USA in white. And the ball will end up in the hands of the umpire, it appears, as we're again just coming up on that 6-minute mark. Final game of day number 8 in the Transatlantic Cup. Hard to believe there's only 2 days left in this fantastic event. Ball's up in the air. Where's it going to land? Bouncing, and it's knocked forward. So that was nice and got his hands on it. Now Team Canada on the march up the quarter. We talked about that in the pregame show as it's picked up on the ground, as that was Gregory Bridges was trying to get his hands on it. Now Ian Euler, dynamic young player. He's been fun to watch here, and no Nova Scotia bias there for myself saying that. Ball on the ground as Canadians trying to get something going here. As taken to the ground there was Kyle Graham. Another contest, and it's going to be the Americans coming out, emerging, kick to space, 4:50 on for USA, and there's a mark as they march forward down the field.
That was Martin Del Campo, who just picked it out of his pocket and found McClure. He goes back. Now McClure, he's going to go back and have a shot. Well, we saw Thomas Lassay from France kick one through the raindrops from a little bit further out. And when McClure lets go, he'll be 60 meters out. He'll have the berries. Make it 55. Kick is up on the way. It is tailing left, and it has gone through for a behind. And he can certainly do that, can Mark McClure. That's what makes him so dangerous, even when he gets the mark at the top of the 50 arc.
Yeah, if that had gone through, that might have been I don't know if it would have been the best goal of the tournament. It would have been the longest kick of the tournament, though, I think, as Canada marching out, defensive 50 out. Seeing those perhaps maybe a strategy there for Canada to get those big, long kicks to try to start the offense. But in this particular case, Javon Mason gets it, and he'll kick it forward. USA on attack, big mark inside 50. It looks like it's about, Simpson catches the mark, and it's about 40 meters out, I'd say, for him, for the veteran. As I said, he was the flag bearer, the veteran from the Columbus Cats, Clyde Simpson. He's got an opportunity to add to the U.S. lead.
Played football for the Rainbow Jowlerup in country Victoria. Was on this 2017 side. In fact, kicked the first goal of the game against Papua New Guinea. Leans back, lets it go. Umpire looks to his right, taps himself because he says, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me. 5-4-34 USA. Canada 1 straight 6. 8 gone second term. Brian Barish alongside Pat McNeil. David Smith is riding the boundary with us, peeking in the tents and seeing what's happening. Ball gets picked off. Gigliotti finds McGettigan. Left-footed kick from the Philadelphia native. Goes up high, chasing after it, then is Shotwell outside of the boot, looking in the middle for DePina, and the ball gets knocked out of bounds 3 meters around from the U.S. target. Great job by DePina, and a great job by Derek Shotwell, who also plays Gaelic football, rugby, baseball, and basketball, and he also is a backpacking enthusiast. Oh, no, wait. It was somebody else. That was the wrong line. Sorry. Monconte, he's a PA teacher at the Alliance Academy of Cincinnati.
Teaching, backpacking, all the same thing.
Yeah.
Really. These players are multi-talented off the field. They're throw in from behind the posts. It's tapped forward. Team Canada looking to create something here and try to get out of their defensive 50, but U.S. hands are on the ball. Handball option executed now. Attack on for USA. Ball goes off, perhaps more hands, and that's going to try to go out. The ball's trying to go out. Jacob Rose will keep it in, though, and it's kicked, and it's on the goal line. That's Simpson, I think, that's knocked it through, and they're going to say it was touched, so that is a behind. Scoreline goes 5-4-34 USA, 1-6 Canada.
And I think what happened there...
35-6, 5-5.
That's okay. What happened there, Pat, is it looked like it went off of Simpson's hand, and it then went over the line before he got his boot to it. That was very, very close, but a good job by the goal umpire, who was right there to make the call, and they have turned the ball over already. So here is Shotwell. We'll tell you for real, 30 years old from Cincinnati, Ohio, has played in the last 2 Parallel Cups, so he has played on this ground, did soccer and cross country in college, and as we said, he is a PA teacher there in Cincinnati. Lets this one go. That's a very good kick, but it's passes the Dutchie on the right-hand side, and 5 straight kicks separates the teams and the midway part of the second quarter. On the Payable app scoreboard, U.S. 5-6-36, Canada 1 straight 6 with Pat McNeil.
Canada looking for the kick out of the goal square, defensive 50 as we're halfway through the second quarter. Canada looking for something, trailing 36-6 at this juncture. Kick along the left side. Ball booted heavily up in the air, and no clean mark there for Canada. It's going to be marked opposition mark, courtesy of Zach Taylor. I said Canada, I think they're trying to kickstart the offense by those high kicks, just try to kick for distance, but the Americans have been first to the contest. That's a nice clean mark there by Team USA's Derek Shotwell. He's at it again. He's had a lot of the football here in this second quarter and throughout the game. As Brian was talking about key player for the U.S. He'll kick it in from the boundary. Ball goes towards the goal square. And again, McClure's hands are out there. He's got the football. He'll make a kick along the ground. And great job by Canada on defense. I think that was Schwartzentruber marking that in the goal square.
And it looks like they're actually going to confer. It looks like the umpires there. You might have there they are. They're going to have to determine as to whether or not that the ball went over the line. And it is going to be given as a goal. Whoa, it went over the line first before Schwartzentruber had the ball. I thought maybe he had his hand on it, but that's going to be a goal. We're going to take a look at it again as this one is kicked by McClure, and you can see right there it was over the line when he first got his hand to it. So 6-6-42 for the USA, and that is 3 for McClure, and that was maybe not his prettiest goal, but they all look the same on the scoreboard.
Yeah, they do indeed, and that U.S. advantage gets a little greater. He's a baseball guy by trade, but that's the hockey hat trick. Although there was that one time at the Rogers Center they threw hats out for a 3-home run game. Can't remember which play that was. It is going to be a center clearance, though, following the goal. Though we have some action in the backfield. Is this another 6-6-6 perhaps?
Probably a warning.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it is going to be a free kick. Well, it was either a warning or a free kick straight out, but it will go the way of Canada. And now sending this one on and sending this one down in the middle of the ground as this one is sent up, as the ball gets knocked down. Going after it is McKinney. And over the back is Martin Del Campo. We should mention, I got my dates confused. He is actually playing for the LA Dragons now. Was playing for Orange County at one time. Ball goes out into the pocket. Handballed around. There is Ian Edmonton Oiler who gets the football back. Throws this one on to the left. If he was playing for the U.S., he'd be Houston Oiler. Ball goes out of bounds. Canada with another entry inside 50. It's been a long time in between drinks. And once again, it's 6-6-42 to 1 straight 6. The USA, don't want to dwell on it too much, but worth repeating. 18 meetings between the two times. Canada, only one victory. Ball goes to ground. Here's Uday Kapila. Kapila able to find a hand up. Throw that one on to the right. Through the hands of Shotwell. Long handball back by Linfelt. Looks like they're playing either slam ball or beach volleyball, whatever you want to call it. And then turn back the other way. Off the foot of Bridges. Goes into the pocket. And letting that one go out of bounds was Ryan McGettigan. I don't think he wanted to do that. But it'll be a boundary throw in about 25 meters around as you look at the Philadelphia native and my former teammate, Ryan McGettigan.
Lots of Philadelphia references. Nice shout out to Slam Ball with Pat Croce there, involved in the ownership of that. Ball will be thrown in, and ball will come out right in front of the goal square. It's going to be tapped to USA hands here as it's still free for the taking. It's Capella who has it for Canada. He'll kick it forward. He plays right here in Toronto, does O'Day Capella. Once cycled across Canada. Boot comes off of the feet of Eric Klein of the Hamilton Wildcats. That went offline. Another veteran player for Canada. That's a behind. Eric Klein, 39-year-old for the Wildcats. He was here on this field 2 years ago at the Parallel Cup as well.
Yeah, and a good player. I was impressed by his play at the Parallel Cup a season ago out in Racine. A lot of good players on this Canadian side. Don't let the score fool you. Don't let that 0-3 record fool you. They are a talented bunch, and it's great to see them working to grow the sport here in Canada. There might be rivals on the field, but everybody working towards the same goal of growing this weird sport as this one is kicked inside the 50-meter arc. There's McClure again. One-on-one contest. Able to put the pressure on the man in Morgan White, and the ball goes out of bounds. Morgan, he's been around a long time, plays for the Quebec Saints. His partner, Gabby Bureau, who plays for the Canada Northern Lights. They have 2 kids. They've both been here. Big fan of the Sydney Swans, as of course our colleague David Smith as well. He is 42 years old and somehow is not the oldest player on the team unless he is, and it's not noted. Yeah, he is at 42. So, yeah, he's been around a mile a minute. And this one is kicked up the far side now by Cook. Cook sends this one on. Chasing back and digging back on it once again is McGettigan. He was shoved out. That was Anderson who was shoved down. I believe that is going to be pushed in the back. And the Sacramento Suns player who won Best on Ground, the MVP award, thanks to Powerwood Apps, is going to have the kick out from his goal square.
And that was Lugarini that was pushing, just trying to create something to happen like he did on the Canadian goal earlier, but that time it didn't work. An intercept mark for Team USA. That ends up being Tim Linfeld. It'll be kicked along the right side. side, cleaning the mark. Decision to play on for Team USA along the right side towards the forward 50. McClure takes a stab at catching that, unable to do so. A rare misstep for him, perhaps. Ball kicked towards the midfield, no clean mark there. Ball continues the play on, and there was some nice shoving, some nice bumping, and play continues on. It'll come to Team Canada's Eric Klein. Klein goes out the back option. Canadians on the move here. That's Nyston having a boot. It'll come up in the air as it'll actually be contested along the ground. Canadian player down, and it's not sure which player it is, but he's going to be getting up, which is what we want to see. Ball kicked along the boundary. Team USA takes possession defensively. It's Del Campo again, who's had a lot of the ball, and he gets the handball option. Ball comes back to the ground, and again, we'll get an umpire whistle as the pace of play picking up here the last little while.
Yeah, it really has, and more importantly, Canada is getting a little bit more of the territorial advantage. So a free kick upcoming, 55 meters out. Going to go with the short option. Drops in front, bounces free, and going to get handballed away. Going to get sent back from which it came by Martin Del Campo. Off the hands there of Capilla. Staying with the football over on the far side. Going after it is Simpson. Simpson was taken down without the football. Yep, it was called. Could have been a 50-50 call, but it was pretty obvious. Derek Shotwell, rather, that was Max DePina, was ready to keep playing, but he said, now you got to give that to your good mate in Clyde Simpson, the captain of the Columbus Cats. Team was found in 2009 by Chet Ridenour, who is roaming around here in support of the USA team. They were founded as the Columbus Jackaroos back in the day. He finds Mike Linehan from the 8-time U.S. national champion Austin Crows. High ball up in the middle of the ground. Going to get knocked down. Right out back the other way now. This is Euler. Goes to the short side. Probably needed an oil can on that one. Sending that one up high. Gets punch free. Del Campo finds Simpson on the wing. Simpson going to send this one. Looking to think about it, but it was smothered and covered like some Waffle House hash browns. Throwing in there with Stephen Walker. Throw a blanket over a half a dozen players. Everybody playing aggro twister. It's left foot green, right foot mud.
You mentioned right green. Ian Euler, red-green colorblind. So I don't know if his jerseys, if Canada's flag looks green and white to him, but of course he's one of the young stars on this Canadian team. Ball up is won by Team Canada, kicked along the left boundary as it's on the ground. Who wants it in the final 3 minutes here of this second quarter? Canada trailing 42-7 on the Payable app scoreboard. Kick forward 52. Team Canada ball dribbling along the ground. Who's going to be able to get it? Comes into American hands. That is handballed there by Luke Meyer. And the ball will come along the right side. It's by the AFL Ontario scoreboard, which is, of course, the Payable app scoreboard at the moment as the ball goes into play.
Ball comes spinning in on the other side now. Ball will come spinning in now.
And it's going to be a ball up here. And again, it is on the Lake Ontario side of the field. A little more than 2 minutes to play as the umpire lets everything settle down here. Again, a reminder, whoever wins this game will play Ireland in the final on Sunday. Whoever loses will play a consolation match against Colombia. Of course, that first tournament for Colombia. Talked about Morgan White being a big fan of the Sydney Swans. Don't know if he was first in the line to get his picture taken with Josh Kennedy, the Colombian coach, who's a popular guy this week at the Payable Cup. Or pardon me, Transatlantic Cup. I'm going back in time 2 years ago with this one. As just waiting to see here the clock ticking away as the action or lack thereof is opposite of us here, and the ball will be thrown up. Again, we are in the tent provided by the great broadcast production of E-There Live, and we get a draw in the contest, so that will end up being back in the hands of the umpire.
And thank goodness for that, because it was coming down pretty hard, although a gust of wind has gone through and really blown everything sideways. So, yeah, that was fun. As a handball out the back now by Zach McKinney, sending this one down, going deep, and two players back. That is Klein and Schwartzentruber. Schwartzentruber is there, and the ball goes out of bounds. Just a little friendly handshake there. I'll tell you what, we saw this a lot in the Ireland-Great Britain game, especially with a final spot on the line. A lot of these guys know each other, especially DePina, who used to play up in Seattle, of course now playing in Australia. A lot of these guys do know each other. They do want to win, of course, but they are mates off the field. They do keep in touch during the season. Free kick picked out now, and picked out to a handball. Looks like, I guess that's Munn, but
Phillips,
it is Phillips now who has the football, goes around, sending this one in. High ball in the air. Everybody flies. 4 people in there. David was out the back. So too was DePina. Livy is able to get it. DePina tries to pick that one up. He gets it on the second bite of the cherry. Good bump put in there by David. Everybody flying in there. It's like everybody trying to get the last Tickle Me Elmo doll, and then sent that one up. That was a thing when I was a kid. As the ball gets knocked down, everybody goes down mushroom farming once again. Canada able to get that one up. That was like Capilla, who was able to get that free. It'll roll, it'll skip, it'll hop, it'll go through, picked up. They got to hurry here, and nope, the clock beats them as Cinco picked that one up, and that will do it. Halftime here in the second semifinal of the 2024 AFL Transatlantic Cup, brought to you by Payable Apps. It's the USA Revolution 6-6-42, Canada 1-1-7. The goal kickers for the USA, Gross, Livy, Del Campo all have one. McClure have three. And it was Lugarini who has the one goal for Canada. We have a special halftime guest on the other side of this break. We'll step aside and come right back. You're watching the 2024 AFL Transatlantic Cup, brought to you by Payable Apps from Toronto.
Aussie Rules the World podcast is a podcast dedicated to bringing our listeners information from international Aussie rules, from news, reports, reviews, and interviews from people dedicated to building Aussie rules internationally. During the Transatlantic Cup, World Footy Shorts will be bringing you daily updates from what's happened from the games and around the event. And this is Aussie Rules the World podcast.
Footy fans, you need to know about AFL Canada Shop. AFL Canada Shop has great items, whether you are a player, a coach, an umpire, a fan of Team Canada, or helping to grow this great game. Plus, AFL Canada Shop sells the highest quality Australian footballs at the best price anywhere. And we ship everywhere in the footy world. So visit AFL Canada Shop today at aflcanadashop.ca.
Back here at Humber College, Colonel Sam Smith Park here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada for the 2024 AFL Transatlantic Cup presented by Payable Apps. We are at halftime of the men's second semifinal. The USA are ahead and up big here at halftime. The score is 42-7. You know, the USA has been around, USAFL has been around since 1997, and one of the gentlemen who is responsible for the founding of the league is with David Smith right now.
Absolutely. I'm with Paul O'Keefe, certainly one of the founders of the USAFL. They call him Plugger, and we'll talk about a little bit how the USAFL was formed.
So we started back in 1997. There was a bunch of clubs in the Midwest, and we got together for a few games that year, and I started to think that, well, maybe there was something in this. So we had our first nationals in 1997, and that's when we formed the league. We talk about the infamous meeting behind the barn in rural Ohio, and you know, it just kicked off from there, and we went from that original 4 or 5 clubs to about 12 clubs the following year.
And the USFL also been trailblazers in international footy. You got that going quite a few years ago. Maybe speak about that.
Yeah, so from the very beginning, we decided that we need to be a club-based sport, something different than what was in the American ecosystem of sport, and sort of recreate that Australian system of club-based where people can continue to play beyond college, unlike sort of American sports. And so we felt that from the very beginning, an international team, you know, a USA team was the top of our grassroots pyramid, and we had to give athletes something to play for beyond their club. And so in 1999, we had our first international in Chicago against Canada. We call it the 49th Parallel Cup. Paul Roos at the time, who had just come off his time with the Sydney Swans and his premiership years, coached that first game, which was fantastic. The following year, we came up to Toronto to play. And then the following year, in 2001, we actually took US and Canada, went and played against Ireland, Denmark, and England in England. And we called it the Atlantic Alliance Cup. And that actually helped force Trailblazer to create the first ever international cup in 2002. We personally think the international cup is critical for our recruitment and participation. You know, American athletes are great athletes and they love competition. The fact that we can bring in talent and say you can represent your country, and you can see the passion out here today, not just with the US, but all the teams that have played, that passion of representing your country, and the ability to go home to, you know, the MCG and the birth of the game is so critical. So we're really hopeful that the International Cup will come back. Because we need that for that grassroots pyramid, because, you know, very few of our players will ever play for the AFL, but man, if they can play in Australian International Cup, that is a big deal.
All right, thank you for your time, Paul, and good luck in the rest of the tournament.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Plugger. Thank you, David. And Plugger, you know, he, I think he said go Revo, so... Plugger,
infiltrating our AFL Canada broadcast.
Absolutely, of course.
We don't condone that.
Two USA-Ireland finals.
Yeah, two USA-Ireland finals. Well, we still have 40 minutes to go, Plugger, in this third quarter. Brian Barish back here with Pat McNeil. And Pat, you know what, Canada, they're not out of it by any stretch of the imagination. All they have to do is take some of the magic that they had in that second quarter, the goal there by Lugarini, and really multiply it.
Yeah, I didn't get quite the result they wanted in that second quarter, but they got more of the ball, and that's what they're going to be looking to do here in this third quarter to try to chip away.
Of course, Paul O'Keefe still playing, although he might be down to his last year or two, as he said. He's got a few years on UNI, still plays the last remnants of the Milwaukee Bombers football club. Third quarter about to get underway. U.S. kicking to the left of screen, Canada to the right. Here's Pat McNeil.
Contest off the ruck, handball as Team Canada on the move here. That is booted, heavy boot along the left side as it's going to come out to some Canadian hands there in the forward 50 at the back option. not completed successfully. See some of the dirt on the players' jerseys, players' jumpers, I should say. They've been getting on the ground in the contest here. Ball along the boundary. It's Rob Inkpen of the Halifax Dockers soccering it forward. Bit of a bicycle kick there by Team Canada. Contest for the mark, and the ball will just squirt along the ground. Seeing a lot of it along the ground here in the early part there as Lugarini trying to get involved again there with the hands, as it's going to be booted there by Brady Walker, who's been involved for Canada all day, and he still has the football. He's being tackled, and I think they're calling, and was there an opportunity there? Let's see.
Well, we're going to see here. The umpire says, give it to me. We'll have a ball up. It looks like a lot of players are sliding off each other's arms. A lot of humidity out there and a lot of sweaty bodies out there, as there is Mason, who's able to get this one away. Up on the far side now. And it's going to get taken now. Again, going after it is Jawadi. The ball goes and tumbles out of bounds on the Lake Ontario side in front of the equipment shed. Beautifully painted here. And you see the contest up on the far side. That might be Max Gendler there, number 21. Lone representative from the New York Magpies. The ball comes spinning back into play. Punched out of bounds in front of the umpires' tent. And we've mentioned the umpires off and on during the course of this. A shout out to them, of course. You can't have a game without officials. And we've got boundary umpires, of course, the field umpires, goal umpires, people doing 2 and 3 things. Not only from here in Canada and North America, but from AFL Europe, from different leagues in Australia. And they've been a fantastic addition. Here is Phillips, who goes across and finds Gray. Gray runs the 65, puts this one up in the air, looking for a contest. David keeps it in front of him. Back to Gray. Gray gets away from one tackle, puts it on the right foot into an open goal square, but it goes across the face, but it goes out of bounds. Not a bad result for the U.S. We'll have a boundary throw in about 4 meters around. And I think that might be Eric Anderson, who they have put in the forward line. We'll find out in just a moment. But now, in fact, it was Linehan. They both have the same mustache-looking thing.
Yeah, it'll lead to a 50-50 contest there. Forward 50 for the U.S. U.S. kicking towards the visitmississauga.can. The USA in white with blue jumpers. Team Canada in the all-red strip as we get a whistle quickly here into this contest. We're but 2.5 in to this third quarter. Canada will get a free kick in the defensive 50. It's booted up right up the middle. High kick. Lehman's in the battle, but it is going to be won. A lot of height there for both teams, but it's ultimately won by Tim Lindfeld, one of the taller players on Team USA. He'll make the switch across to the left side of the field. Jumping mark completed. Beautiful mark there by Team USA. Backing up, kicked out towards forward 50. Hands are on the ball. Nice succession of offense there by Daniel Livy, who's kicked a goal in this game also for the Americans. He'll boot it towards forward 50 and a third consecutive mark. This time it is going to be Max Gendler, as Brian was talking about, representing the New York Magpies. He's got himself the football opportunity here with a free kick.
He'll on debut, played soccer in college from Brooklyn, New York. And we know that Magic Murphy, Drea Casillas, everybody watching back in New York for the Magpies. As he strides in, Gendler, when he lets go, will be from about 40 meters off. No, he's going to take him on, makes the man miss, sends this one for goal. But all of that, the mustard came off the proverbial hot dog as he sold Victor Cinco out of his shoes. It's just 1 point, 43-7, back to a 6-goal difference.
Trying to sell candy like Shoppers Drug Mart on November 1st as the ball is in the middle of the field on Canadian hands here. It's Walker with it. He'll boot it out in towards the 50-meter arc. Ball is up in the air, and it's going to be Canadian hands winning it. It's Lugarini who's at it again. He's been so active in that Canadian forward line. Contest along the ground here. Good work there by Rathgeb as well for Team Canada. Of course, he plays right here in Toronto. As ball along the boundary here as it'll come to Team USA in the defensive, not the defensive 50, but the defensive half of the field, we'll call it. Kick is completed. That is a mark by Sam Murphy. Team USA on the move here along the right side. It's Del Campo with it now. He's able to protect the ball, keeps it forward, boots it in. Shallow forward 50 entry here. Not quite forward 50, actually. Ball goes bouncing along the ground. Canadian hands pick it up, boot it out. And Canada trying to boot it out of trouble. Comes right next to her. Their live broadcast location. Marked by Rob Inkpen of the Halifax Dockers, a.k.a. Switty.
And Switty has the football, looking for it in the middle of the ground. Going to send this one high and deep. Went a little bit early. And, in fact, is he going to get called for high contact because of it? As you see, Lugarini, who has the only major score of the game for the Canadians. And here is McGettigan. Puts this one onto the left foot. Out into the middle, once again in front of Pat and I. Picking that one up again was Euler. Euler sends this one across the way. It'll one hop, going over and picking that one up, spinning around, taking on Gigliotti, but forgot about Gendler, and he crept up on him like a librarian. And Max Gendler, who has been largely quiet in these two games, has all of a sudden, the first 3 games rather, has come off the bench and finds Gabriel Martin Del Campo. Del Campo is 70 meters out, sending this one in, goes into the pocket, goes after him and gets him. Now sends this one back from whence it came, up on the far side. It'll skip, it'll hop, it'll stay in play, and finally it will go out of bounds. And we'll have a boundary throw. And a reminder, the winner of this game plays Ireland in the men's grand final. That's a 1:45 p.m. Eastern time start on Sunday. It will be the USA and Ireland in the women's grand final. That's an 11:45 a.m. start on Sunday as well. And the Americans hoping that it will be a double feature. Thank you.
Yeah, well, we'll call it that, a double bill. Of course, we've been talking throughout the broadcast about people who are watching their club teammates. I want to say hello to everybody that may be cheering their teammates on. Regardless of where you are in North America, big shout out to everybody back on the East Coast watching. I know the Nova Scotia Lions Facebook chat's probably hopping right about now as the ball is on the right side of the field, opposite of our There live broadcast location. Ball goes skyward. Who wants it? Takes an unforgiving bounce, and it's bounce back handball option for Canada out the back. Kicked along the right boundary. His hands are up, tap forward. USA takes possession, handball through towards the corridor, kicked up. And nobody thought there was going to be nobody home, but it is cleanly marked by USA. Merkel on the right side as it's Team USA on the move again. Here's some nice handball give and go. DePina involved. He's got the ball now, kicks it forward to a marking contest. McClure was there, but he couldn't get his clean hands on it. Canada now trying to defend, so to speak, in their defensive 50. Ball goes dribbling, and it just stays in play as the Canadians. Cinco's got the ball. He'll kick it along the right side. And Victor Cinco, late addition to this Team Canada, not looking at a place, though.
Want to point out that great spoil by Morgan White. Over the back there, once again, was Stephen Walker. Couldn't get to it. It'll go up on the far side. It'll roll. It'll skip. It'll hop. It'll die. And ball goes out of bounds. Brian Barish alongside Pat McNeil. We've got David Smith on the boundary. Peter Holden is keeping us in check here over and as our spotter, and glad to have your company. And whether you've been with us for a game or for the entire 8 days, we appreciate your company. We'll be here 2 more days. And then we all go back to where we will be from, as Semisonic once sang. What a very good song. It's a good jam, especially when you are heading out down the Gardiner to Mississauga. And we tell you, of course, to visit Mississauga.ca and enjoy the sights there. It is a lovely, lovely city. In fact, visit Paul Coffey Park. I didn't know that former Flyer I guess he played for a couple of other teams, had a park named after him.
Yeah, everybody only remembers Paul Coffey with the Flyers, or maybe the Hartford Whalers. Canada hoping it's not closing time here in this third quarter as they trail 43-7 to Team USA on the Payable app scoreboard. Switch by the USA in the center of the field. It's booted along the right side, going to be marked. And that goes to required 15. Team USA in possession. It's kicked out towards the forward 50 for the Americans. Hands are up. Where's it going to go? It's McClure again. Who else? Kick, and it's nicely spoiled there by Canadian hands. The U.S. remains on the attack. Forward 50. Handball low to the ground. I think goes McClure again, trying to get his foot on it. The ball will squirt out of play as the Northern Lights, I should say, the Canadian women are gathered watching their counterparts there, trying to cheer them on here for a comeback.
And the Freedom are to our left behind on the bench there, and it will be a free kick. It should be, and they're going to look in the middle. We saw Julian David. He's got fins to the left, fins to the right, and he's the only girl in town. That's a good Jimmy Buffett song, as this one is sent down the line. One-on-one contest off the hands. Nyston was in there for Canada, but couldn't get it. Here off of one step is Gelati. Bounces in for Gray, who couldn't get that one. Schwartz and Truber push the pressure on him. Going to get picked out there by Cinco. Cinco will slide that one off the shoelaces. There is Phillips. Canadians wanted a call, ain't going to get it. The ball goes down. There is Murphy. Long way down to the ground floor for him. Big tackle put in there by Javon Mason, and he is G-O-N-E gone. And that, I believe, was Capella who he tackled in there. And the man from Portland, Oregon, who's had a great series so far, has done well. And then what has he done? He's kicked it into the player on the mark, and the umpire crosses his arms like the Monsignor, and it will be a ball up as you see it again. Big tackle into the middle, and that's what you're trying to do. And listen, That's how you tackle. It's a little bit different than other sports, like in rugby, like in football. All you want to do is stop progress. You're not out there trying to end somebody.
No, 100%. And physicality picking up there is that Keith Phillips was kind of feeling that after that tackle. He plays for the North Carolina Tigers. I believe he may be the only representative of the Tigers on this Team USA team. He'll boot it forward, deep into the forward 50 now as the Americans on the attack. Of course, the USA a 43-7 lead. Another whistle here is the game getting uglied up a little bit on the ground here as we will get a ball up.
That'll be okay for the U.S. because the score hasn't changed. They haven't scored anymore, but more importantly, they've kept Canada off the scoreboard as the ball gets punched out of bounds. You mentioned the North Carolina Tigers. The southeast portion of the U.S. has really been, I'm not going to say it's been barren, but it really has been lacking over the last couple of years. And a great effort by a number of people, including Wayne Kraska, who we know is at home watching in suburban Atlanta. He helped form the Rome Redbacks, which we believe might be the smallest metropolitan area to have a standalone team. Of course, there's a number of up-and-coming clubs. Talk about the Savannah Hurricane down in Louisiana. There's a team called the Bayou Brawlers, which may join the USAFL in some time. A couple of metro teams in there, the Chattanooga Flying Foxes, and of course ready for this one, the New South Wales.
Wow, that's a clever play on words, of course. So we're doing our part out in Eastern Canada as well. Halifax Dockers, Sydney Giants, and now welcoming the St. John Bulldogs and Cornwall Tigers. Maybe not as creative, and rumors of something happening in Fredericton as well, as the ball will go out of play. So if you are watching this in Atlantic Canada, look at AFL Canada and find your local club. And if you can't find one, start one. And you should do the same thing if you're in the United States.
Can I have a hot take for a second? I think if you're forming a club, there's so many great nicknames. There's more than 18 nicknames. Leave the AFL nicknames alone. We have way too many Hawks, way too many Tigers, way too many Swans, way too many Magpies. Think of something new. We've got the Minnesota Freeze. We've got the Fort Lauderdale Fighting Squids. We've got the Golden Gate Iron Maidens. Come up with something new, why don't you? As the ball comes back into play up on that far side. I'm sure I'll get lambasted by somebody for that, but
it's
I really don't care.
It's tough to turn down all those great supplies those member AFL clubs send to start up these teams.
Yeah, or whatever. But and now, of course, we talk about the Maine Cats as a relatively new side, as you see the man in Javon Mason for one of the clubs that did actually go from, they were the Portland Power at one point when they came into the league. Their men's team is called the Steelheads. The women's team are the Sockeyes. And both of those clubs winning Division 3 national championships for the men, Division 2 for the women. As the ball goes down, going to get picked up by Meyer as he goes to the outside. His parents are both here, by the way. He's from Kansas, and his nickname, ready for this, is Kansas. And it'll be a free kick to Capilla.
So you're saying his parents, if they're here, they're not in Kansas anymore.
Very good. All we are is dust in the wind, dude. Go ahead.
Well, we're having fun here, and there's no hot takes on a day like there's nothing but hot takes on a day like today where it's very warm in Toronto. Again, it is 6-7, 43-1-1, 43-7 for Team USA. Ball is on the boundary here as the Americans try to march it towards, pardon me, that it's actually going to be a boundary throw in here. As again, the plays opposite our either live broadcast location, either live, doing a great job of providing the pictures and audio, just like the Australian High Commission to Canada did a great job sponsoring the balls used throughout the tournament. Can't play the game without the football. They are responsible for advancing Australia's interests in Canada, including things like the growth of Australian football. You should go visit canada.embassy.gov.au. Free kick to Canada outside the 50-meter arc here, as that's going to be Braden Walker, it looks like, having a boot, and it will go way up. And it lands. Where is it going to land? It lands on American hands. It's a mark for Team USA.
Looks like Eric Anderson, who is best on ground for the USA. Yep, that is Anderson. Thought that he and, from this distance, he and McGettigan look the same. Goes up for a mark. Going to get knocked down. Going to get popped high up in the air. Swatting that one backwards was Martin Del Campo. And the umpire says, there is no prior opportunity. Give me the ball, my sons, and I shall toss it to the heavens. And we will sing Psalm 125, Oh God, where are the goalposts? As the ball gets knocked down. Sending this one inside the 50-meter arc. One-on-one contest. Did he take that? He sure as heck did. Give that a Payable apps mark of the tournament nod to Lugarini, thank you.
He's really trying to drag Canada into this game. He's been outstanding work in the forward line for Team Canada.
And here it is once again. He just plucks this one off of a blade of grass. Well, that was very, very close, but the umpire gives it to him, and 10 points for effort there is Lugarini, who has one already. He'll kick this one from 25 meters out, sends this one up on the way. It fades to the left. Umpire taps and points out one finger. First point in a while for the Northwind. The margin back to 35 points. Canada 1-2-8, USA 6-7-43. On the Payable app scoreboard here in Toronto, Brian Barish alongside Pat McNeil. David Smith is down on the boundaries. The U.S. brings it out.
Team USA trying to break out of their defensive 50, and Canada's had a little bit more of the play. Hasn't been as much scoring in general on either side in this third quarter as handball option executed by the Americans. Up the corridor they go. Team USA in white, Canada in red. USA kicking towards the visitmississauga.ca, and you absolutely should visit Mississauga as the ball is kicked along the right side. It goes bouncing. Who is going to pick it up? As we see the handball option executed. US on the move. Shotwell with it now, as he'll handball it out towards the middle, as that's Eric Anderson, who was previous best on ground in this tournament. He got rid of it. Ball on the ground now. Anderson will hand it back to DePina, and play whistled, and that will lead to a Canada free kick in their defensive 50.
Very interesting to see Anderson all the way up this early. In fact, that may have been McGettigan. I was going to say Anderson still in the back line. Ryan McGettigan gave away the free kick. So Canada with the football in their left half back flank. Under 4 minutes to go here in this third quarter. That will remind you that clock is unofficial as the ball gets knocked down. Long handball by Martin Del Campo. They work it down the chain of fools. Here comes Curtis having a little jog somewhere in the mud, somewhere in the swamps of Toronto as the ball gets knocked down. Big tackle put in there, and you could see Proctor aiming for it the entire way. Martin Del Campo is in there as well. 3 players on the football. Umpire blows the whistle. Everybody gets up. Everybody says we're still friends. And Greg Lehman, who will give up a free kick. I'm not going to steal the joke, don't worry.
Well, what Brian was tempted to say there is that the umpire had to explain in layman's terms that it was going to be a free kick to Team USA as the ball is kicked out. Along the right side, Team Canada trying to get possession, as that was Eric Klein that was after it. Now the Americans get it back, and it'll be handballed out to the side. That is going to be Clyde Simpson, who's facing traffic like we're trying to thwart off the Wasps here in our broadcast location. They have been present all week here at Humber College. Big-time traffic, and the game really getting a little bit more congested in this third quarter. A lot of game along the ground, and the umpire is probably going to say enough of that. I will take the ball, or no, maybe I spoke too soon.
Well, it took him a minute and a half. Excuse me. Usually, we've noticed the trend here, and as far as I'm concerned, as long as it's consistent, I don't really care. But we've noticed that during this last week, they've been a little hot on times on the whistle, and this will be a free kick as they played on. They didn't get a chance to set the mark, and that's a shame because Tersini booted the ball 3/4 of the way down the field, and that's going to waste a good 30 seconds. He will up. He's saying you need to stay on the mark. How many times do we have to do this? I will tell you. All right, and we'll go back once again. 2 minutes to go. USA 22 minutes seemingly from their first major international grand final, and their 18th win over Canada in 19 tries, but a good job in front there by Schwartzentruber. Going to send this one in. Phillips took about a half-inch of turf with him. Sends this one back in the air. One-on-one contest. Good contest right in there. Throwing it back behind there was Curtis. Going in there again was McGettigan. And then Neiston trying to get Munn out of the contest. And the first bloke of the USAFL, as Peter Holden calls him, of course, April Munn, her husband, his wife, sorry about that, I've been sitting out in the heat too long, is in there and knocks the ball forward. You'll see April most likely in the grand final on Sunday if she's named to the team. And she wasn't named in the team during the semifinal win. Of course, that thrilling win, probably the best game we've seen in this tournament so far. The U.S. edging Canada 14-13 to book their place in the grand final. Of course, that is still a day and a half away. The U.S. men are 50 seconds away, plus a full quarter of doing the same. And another big hit by Javon Mason. And we're talking about possible Powerwood MVPs. We might give him one.
Yeah, certainly in contention. Of course, Powerwood has been sponsoring the game MVPs. They've donated hand-carved trophies for each game MVP. They are custom cedar supplies done right, based in Western Canada. Visit powerwood.com for more information as the umpire has the ball here. As the third quarter, starting to tick down here. Ball is up in the air, and Team Canada looking at pressure. There is a boot towards goal, and it is tapped. I think that was Eric Anderson getting his hand on that to negate a potential Canadian goal at the horn. So that, again, will conclude a third quarter with not a ton of scoring really on either side.
Got a big old bear claw for that one, and if anyone's around here wants to get me a bear claw, that would be a good idea. And a three-quarter time of the second semifinal in the men's division of the 2024 AFL Transatlantic Cup presented by Payable Apps. It's the USA Revolution, 6-7-43, 1-3-9 for Canada. The game is equilibrated a little bit, and as far as the USA is concerned, that's fine. They have the lead there. It's a 6-kick difference. Yeah, I had to think about that for a second, but it's 34 points heading into the final term. If you're Kyle Strensky, if you're Justin Valley, the coaching staff there, if you're Dusty Jones, all you'd say is, look, just keep them out. Don't let your heads drop. Keep your head on a swivel. Challenge them for the football. And all we need to do is do that for 20 minutes, and we're playing in a grand final.
Yeah, for sure. And the Americans, I don't want to say cruise control. They just want to keep playing smart, keep the good habits up. And if you're Canada, just try to take something positive into this fourth quarter. You're playing at home. You want to show the Americans you can compete with them. What they've shown that for stretches of this game. They want to finish strong, win the quarter. And if you get a couple of quick ones, see what happens and take it from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the key is, Canada has to play, what's to the wall at this point, because there is no tomorrow. They will have one more game, win or lose, but they want to play in that grand final. They want to beat the U.S. This is the rivalry match, and there hasn't been the heat in some of the other matches, but that's because the USA really just came in and kicked the goals really quickly, and we'll see how they do in the final 20 minutes. And we will watch the final 20 minutes and call the final 20 minutes and watch along with all of you when we return. You're watching the 2024 AFL Transatlantic Cup from Toronto, thanks to Payable Apps.
Australian football is in Canada. Fast. Tough. Spectacular. Fun. Join AFL Canada. Visit aflcanada.com.
Footy fans, you need to know about AFL Canada Shop. AFL Canada Shop has great items, whether you are a player, a coach, an umpire, a fan of Team Canada, or helping to grow this great game. Plus, AFL Canada Shop sells the highest quality Australian footballs at the best price anywhere. And we ship everywhere in the footy world. So visit AFL Canada Shop today at aflcanadashop.ca.
Google Forms now accepts payments. The Payable Forms add-on allows for seamless integration of a digital checkout with your Google Forms. Install the Payable Forms add-on, link your payment provider, share, and get paid. Your customers can use Apple Pay, Google Pay, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover, Cash App, Venmo, and more. Save time and hassle by automating your payment process quickly and simply. Payable Forms gets you paid.
Back here at Humber College for the final term of the final game of the day, the second semifinal on the men's division. USA Revolution leading Canada 43-9, 20 minutes away from a date with Ireland in Sunday's grand final. You see the huddles there? Let's get an idea as to what was being said at those huddles as we go down to the boundary line, and David Smith.
In the USA huddle, it was all about playing 4 quarters. They want to send a message. They're expecting to play in the grand final. They want to send a message. On the Canadian side, it was belief. It was like Ted Lasso, believe you can win the ball, get a good fourth quarter.
Very good on working in Ted Lasso. We had the lasso rule a little bit earlier on, and we've done that. Brian Barish back here with Pat McNeil. And Pat, Canada, You got to hit right from the front, or else it's going to be a bridge too far, you would think.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to punch back against the U.S. No backing down here in this fourth quarter. Show them what you're made. If you're playing at home, just finish out this fourth quarter. Play the best you can and just see where it goes.
And this is, we said it's about a 6-goal difference here, and you have to figure, because there is no time on and the clock keeps running, it's a 20-minute quarter, and you almost have to deduct 30 seconds for each goal. So really, because of the amount of time it takes to come in, so you're really dealing with about 17 minutes. Here's the fourth and final quarter. Here's Pat McNeil.
Ball up, and it's won by the Canadians. Canadians kicking to the Visit Mississauga.can. Team USA kicking to the Toronto end. That's Ian Oyler. He'll kick the ball along the left side as Eric Klein will take possession. Sells a little bit of candy, then goes out the back. Oilers involved in the wing as well. He'll boot it along the left side, and the ball will go to play. We'll have to actually have a chat with Ian Oyler and ask him or the others perhaps to determine the flag bearers for the respective countries.
Yeah, that's a good question, because you would tend to think that it would be the captains, but wasn't the captains for the USA, or at least, well, one of the co-captains, I beg your pardon. Well, no, I think it was Kathy Hoa who was one of the captains. You were the MC. You remember these things, right?
That feels like about 3 months ago.
Yeah, doesn't it? What a year this week has been as this one is sent in, and the U.S. now kicking towards the left of screen, I believe, as this one is taken down. Maybe it's the right. I don't know. I've forgotten as the ball goes down the ground there. They are defending the Visit Mississauga.ca end, as you see Ryan McGettigan, who, yeah, it's interesting seeing him play on the half-back line. As somebody who was, he was right in front of me in the forward line for the USA. For the Philadelphia Hawks, beg your pardon, as this one is sent in again by Lugarini. Going to get picked up big time. Oh, he bowled him over. Gets by, throws that one onto the left foot. Didn't go very far, and then turned over. There was McGettigan saying, well, if you're not going to do anything, Matteo Lugarini, I'll do it. And here is Gabriel Martin Del Campo. Handballs that one on. Little 1-2 do-si-do. How about a 1-2-3? 1-2-3-4. Finds Livy, and Livy pounds that one down the right side of the ground. Everybody's got to get on their horse and say, Wagons, ho! Down the far line. He's going to pick that one up, and it's going to go out of bounds. And there was Keith Phillips on the end of it, or check that. That was Linehan. That's the third time that I thought that Mikey Linehan was somebody else. And we'll have a boundary throw in almost 2 minutes into the final term. USA up by 34.
Yeah, I wanted to shout out as well the good work on the forward line there for Team Canada's Brady Walker. He's been really involved in the ball, making his debut for Team Canada internationally, and he's playing at home, but I've been told he's traveled to 60 countries, so perhaps he'll be representing Canada abroad at some point. Again, it is 43-9 here. Team Canada in possession in the defensive 50. Of course, Walker plays with the Toronto Central Blues. A lot of those Toronto teams are based right here in Humber College. A dedicated footy ground is very familiar to Canadians. And this ground, if it could talk, well, it's probably pretty tired from all the feet that's been trampling on it this week. As it's a free kick to Team USA outside the 50. It'll be kicked towards that 50-meter arc. Ball goes bouncing around, and it comes into the hands of Javon Mason, who's had a very strong showing for himself today for Team USA. And the umpire will back things up. A couple players down. I don't know if it's too serious an injury. Canadian player is actually Morgan White, the veteran of the Quebec Saints. We talked about him and the veteran experience he's brought to Team Canada in this tournament.
And he looks like he's getting up, and will stay in the play. And they'll play on now from the true center halfback position. Sends this one straight down the old guts. Going up high. Good job by Bridges. And sending this one in. Trying to burn down his own name. And the big tackle. Yeah, good tackle put in there. And the free kick. And it will go the way of Rathgev, I believe. And, oh no, it's going the other way. What's happened? Oh no, it was somebody else. My beg your pardon. So, free kick, and after all of that, Christopher Savov says, I'm going to hand it off, and does so to Rathgev. Sends this one high in the air. Oh, no, almost taking the mark. Ball goes to ground, going to get picked up by Shotwell. Ball cried the crowd. In your boot, says the umpire. And here is David Cook off of one step. This one is sent on the way, and that one is through for a minor score. First one in some time for Canada, but they finally, after 64 minutes of play, go to double digits. They go to 1-4-10, back to 33 points. USA 6-7-43 on the Payable app scoreboard as they kick one through the Seagulls.
Yeah, Seagulls flying around everywhere on the There Live broadcast side of the field. Great job by the staff here. They've really increased the production as it's gone on. They are the exclusive producer of broadcasts for this tournament. Of course, you can visit etherlive.com. Playback underway. Keith Phillips has it for Team USA. He'll boot it towards the forward 50. Hands are up for both sides. Phillips is in the contest again as a battle for the ball on the ground. It's swatted out by the Canadian player Nick Liang and ends up in American hands. Javon Mason again. Boy, he's been very good today for USA. He'll kick it into that 50-meter arc as Julian David's after it for the Americans. Contest along the ground. David will take his man and is trying to pound the ball out there was Eric Escavarage. I should be able to pronounce that. One of the few Ottawa Senators fans who's seen his favorite team play in Seattle.
Escaravage is how it is. And
a big Tottenham Hotspur fan as well.
I coached Tottenham Hotspurs, and as the ball goes out on the far side, I remember those commercials, which led to the series, of course. Look at us with two Ted Lasso in the same ways, and the ball goes out of bounds. Escaravage, another guy who plays for Burnaby in that West Coast League, and it's worth mentioning. The BC AFL, one of several leagues across Canada. Of course, you have AFL Alberta. You've got the AFL Ontario League, which is the largest. They play most of their games here at Humber College. And then, of course, you have AFL Quebec and what's happening out in David and Pat's neck of the woods with AFL Atlantic. Very good to see the competition growing across North America. And, a rising tide floats all boats, and that includes thus south of the border down USA way, as now a long handball up and going to take that one and spinning around is a big tackle in there. I believe that was on Lugarini, and he is Gone gone, and it will be a free kick going the other way. And in fact, it was Brady Walker as up on the far side now. Going to play that one on quickly. Going to go inside 50, just cleared out and desperately looking for the boundary line in front of the USA Freedom, who are, they have a rare 2 off days in this tournament. Of course, the Irish Banshees do as well, but they said both teams, it seems like, are just going to take it easy, support their teams, and just go in nice and clean, ready for the game on Sunday morning.
Yeah, schedule quirk here as an intercept mark there for Team USA, or marking the forward 50 for Team USA. The men and women have been alternating, but because they wanted all the grand finals to be played on Sunday and the women were playing the day before the men, that means the two women's teams that are going into the final get that 2 days off, and it also means that the men's teams that lost the semifinal will have to play in back-to-back days. As kick out in front of the goal square, that's going to be an easy tap in for Julian David. The rebound, because I know people love when we use terms from other sports, will go through the post, and that will be a goal for USA. Moves it to 7-7-49, 1-4-10. USA up on the Payable app scoreboard.
And somewhere back in Northern California, little Evander is cheering. 37 years of age, Julian David. He is an avid disc golf player, and that would be a hole-in-one from a chip shot out or something along those lines. I am terrible at throwing frisbees, so good on him for doing it. So 7-7-49 to 1-4-10, and I think we're going to say it just about now, unless something cataclysmic happens. The USA Revolution will be playing in the grand final against Ireland, but Canada has not given up. That is not what they do. They are a strong, talented team. They deserve the right to be here in spite of the fact that they have not won a game. I don't care what anybody says. Here is Curtis, has a bounce, has Mason in the middle if he wants him, decides to go into traffic, and it's going to get picked off nicely, and that's what I was talking about by Escaravage, who has the football in his back left pocket where I keep my keys, which is why I have a constant pain in the butt.
Well put, and the result, unfortunately, is leaning that way for Canada. Now as the ball kicked along the left side, Canadians on the march here. Again, Canada red, USA in white as the ball on the ground. 12:05 left here, according to our unofficial clock, as the Americans on the attack here. It'll be booted out into the forward 50. No clean mark completed. Canadians now battling for the ball. It'll be kicked out towards the left side. Players on the opposite side of the field. It's Seagulls on our side of the field on the either live broadcast location. Ball goes up in the air, US forward 50. I think we've got an infraction of sorts. We hear the umpire's whistle blow.
And the question has to be asked, if seagulls fly over the sea, what fly over the bay?
I have no answer.
Bagels.
Oh, very well, very well. We're in Toronto, though. We're not in Montreal. That's the bagel city of Canada.
Ah, yes, absolutely. I know that well. As the ball goes out of bounds, we'll have a boundary throw. And Brian Barish, by the way, in case you're wondering, who the hell is this? It's me. I'm Brian Barish alongside Pat McNeil, alongside David Smith on the boundary. We do enjoy, and listen, we do enjoy all the comments and everybody. We do hope you're enjoying this competition, because we sure as heck are enjoying bringing it to you. Here comes Canada out the back now as they send this one up on the far side. It'll roll, it'll skip, and there is, I believe it found the boundary line first in front of Luke Meyer, who, as we mentioned, is from Wichita, Kansas, played baseball in college and also enjoys soccer, played in the Parallel Cup on the reserves team. And that was a bit of a war of attrition for the USA, actually for Canada, because they actually had to borrow a bunch of USA players in order to finish that game. So that was a real rough result for the Canadians. And the funny thing was that was the second game of the day. A lot of those guys had to play 2 games. But here's a free kick to Uday Kapila as this one is sent down. And the ball goes down. And going to get picked up. Going to get out the back there. Is not White. I thought I saw a 25 and was looking in the middle. Sending that one on. Up there's a big bash, and it comes to David Cook. Cook's going to send this one to a yawning goal square, but it bounces off to the left. And Canada almost looking like the USA Freedom did yesterday. 1 goal on 6 scoring shots. That takes them on the 1-5-11. And Canada 7-7-49.
Brian had talked about earlier, he was talking about that reserves game at the Parallel Cup, and that was the case here in 2022. And also, the cameras will not be rolling, unfortunately, but there is going to be a reserve game for the men. So a number of Canadian American players making the trip to Toronto for Saturday. And I believe that there is going to be an exhibition game of sorts for Team USA and Team Canada on the women's side as well. So there will be at least one more Canada-USA game off camera, I guess we can call it, as the ball being contested here. I think Greg Bridges was involved in the contest. We're talking about players moving. We were talking about Greg Bridges' background with Ottawa, but he also played with Halifax previously, and Escaravage also, he used to play for the Ottawa Swans before going out west to BC. So it's great to see these guys, when they move towns, they keep playing footy.
Absolutely, and we see that in the U.S. as well. And you know what? If there isn't a team in their town, how wasn't that a throw? I don't know, but that's okay. Tersini sends this one down. Oh, he was taken down after the fact. We'll just keep an eye on him as the ball it still is in play. This is Klein with the football, and now looking in front, knocked in front. There's Del Campo once again as a long handball out by McGettigan. Comes out to the near side. This is Christopher Savov, or rather, I'm sorry, looking at the wrong one. That was Hutchings, who was shoved in the back, but the ball went out of bounds first. Just to finish the thought, we've mentioned the Des Moines Roosters, Tyler Kammerman and his brother Wes founding the club. We're seeing it in the Finger Lakes region of New York, which isn't terribly far from here, and his name escapes me, the guy from Baton Rouge founded that club, Josh. Thanks, Josh. Sorry about that. But the Finger Lakes Blue Herons might be coming into the league not too long ago.
Yeah, you look at AFL Atlantic, you had a situation where Chris Bork was playing in Halifax. He moves, he starts his own club in Sydney, the Sydney Giants. So we love to see more of that in both Canada and the United States. And of course, we're seeing that growth all over. That's why you see a team like Columbia here, and that is just great to see. We are in the fourth quarter, under 8 minutes to go. USA up 49-11 here on the Payable App scoreboard.
And we should tell you, and we'll rep both of our teams here, both of our leagues here. If you are watching this and you're thinking to myself, this is really cool, I want to play this. If you're in Canada, go visit AFLCanada.com. And if you're in the U.S., why not visit USAFL.com? Find a team near you, or perhaps start a new one. It's not really all that difficult, and we'll help you do it. As the handball is taken down, here's Max DePina. Goes ahead and finds Tim's Linfeld. How about Linfeld having a little go up the forward line? Going to kick it over the head. One-on-one contest. David knocks it to his own advantage, keeps his feet, and runs in and kicks a goal, oblivious to the carnage behind him. That is the cherry on top of the delicious sundae that is this game, and Julian David has kicked his second. It's the 8th for the USA. They go to 8-7-55, double nickels. Canada 1-5-11, and the USA are going to win one more time and go to the grand final.
Yeah, that could be a contender for the Payable Apps goal of the tournament. Fancy footwork there by Julian David, his second of the contest. He's been great for Team USA, and as Brian said, might be salting this away here in the dying stages of the fourth quarter. Canada competing, and they have pockets of this game that they can take, but ultimately it's the American attack now likely looking forward to that matchup with Ireland. And should the U.S. lock that matchup in, it's interesting if you look at the results in the group stage of this tournament, vastly different paths to get to the same destination of USA-Ireland.
Yeah, of course, the Canada, because the Americas teams were in one group, European was another, and they crossed. You were essentially playing the field. It was the best performance in those three games. So a little bit different, and unfortunately for France, who finished at 2-1, because they were in the same group as Great Britain and Ireland, they missed out even though they had a winning record. And Canada, who was 0-3, got through on percentage in a tie with Colombia. And you could kind of see this coming. You didn't want to take anything for granted, and certainly nobody in the USA camp didn't. But this is Gelati who sends this one in off the chest of DePina, who was held in the contest, no call, and that one pinballs around like a ping pong ball. Oddly enough, as that one gets kicked in, almost kicking in danger, finds Shotwell. Shotty too hotty. He goes out into the far side now. Going to get picked up and sent back. Oh, I forgot the football as he bumped into DePina, and then a big hit thrown in there. There again is Gelati. Has the football. He's going to go left. Now go right. Dancing, romancing. Throws this one into the left. Here comes David, looming, and good job of keeping it down. Able to dance away from David and release down the middle, down the right side of the ground, but it's going to get picked off by Timmy Linfeld, the oldest player on the team at 41.
Tim Linfeld, I mentioned, brings size to the contest. Center switch kick. Sends it to the middle of the field. That is going to be Rob Munn with the mark.
I want to be accurate. It's 43, and he's the oldest player on the field. Keep going.
He would like that correction. I'm sure everybody likes it when we talk about their ages. There's a battle for the ball here as we're coming into the final 5 minutes here of this contest. I mentioned as well these two teams, these two countries are going to have that development game tomorrow. And, of course, we won't necessarily be streaming that, but you can come down to the field. We'd love to see more people here at Humber College. No admission for these games. Great entertainment. Been some good football played throughout the week, as that was a rare miss by Julian David. He's been so good that was not able to complete that mark off the kick from Javon Mason.
What I love about our community, just as a little bit of a tangent, is I love when we find new players, when they find the game and new people, they find it. And I want to give a shout out to Kevin Hines, who is watching us in Nashville, Tennessee, a former football player in Connecticut. Another Philly guy like myself, and he's watching at home, as there is Linehan off of 1 foot off to the side, and it goes through for a behind. 8:56 for the USA. Canada 1-5-11. That's on the Payable app scoreboard. 4 minutes and 15 seconds from a pretty well-worthy celebration here by the USA Revolution.
Yeah, Brian was talking about the different backgrounds the players have discovering the game. You look at these Canadian U.S. teams, so many of these players have success in other sports, and it's great to see them finding a second life in premier athletics. You look at a guy in an unconventional situation like Greg Bridges that was a star curler in university, and of course we're talking about Mark McClure being a draft pick of the Red Sox. So a lot of athletic talent out on the field. No surprise they're putting on such a show for us this week.
Yeah, there's a lot of different backgrounds. Rowing, we've got a couple of rowers. Oh, good job there by Euler, but he was mown down by Julian David. In fact, I think the ball may have gone out of bounds first. Nope, David got it. Well, we may have some thinking about our Powerwood MVP of the game, although there is Javon Mason, who definitely is in contention. He goes back to Julian David. David goes left and goes right, gets by Bridges, sending this one in for DePina. And Max DePina, and I remember, we talk about paths to it. I remember talking to Max DePina when he came into the league in 2016 at the Western Regionals, and he was so excited to be a part of the game. Little did he know he would be playing for Team USA, moving to Australia for work. He's played all over with Fitzroy. Yarra Glen is his current club. He strolls in from 30 meters out and goes ba-bang. 9th goal of the USA, first for DePina. And he becomes the Revolution's 6th goal kicker. It's now 60-11 on the Payable app scoreboard, and now they're in party time.
Yeah, just under 3 minutes to go here. So the USA will start looking ahead to Ireland. At Team Canada will try to regroup, as I said, for both the losing semifinalists, which was Canada on both sides of the men's and women's bracket. They end up playing back-to-back games, and of course the same for the teams that won were in the consolation, as well as the final will, of course, see Canada, or sorry, the final will see US and Ireland on both sides, and it should be some good football. Of course, Canada's going to want to finish this strong as well, as we will get a ball up at center, and it'll be tapped forward. That was a Loosemore tapping at that. Good job a lot of the times to see the players try to tap that forward, but a lot of the time your best option is to tap backwards, and it worked there for Canada. Ball in dispute along the ground here, as that's booted for by Javon Mason. Ball will come to American hands. That's cleanly marked, and he goes back to the center square, as that's kicked there by Lennon, and it's marked by Team USA in the final 2 minutes.
Max Gendler with the football, 1:45 to go. The USA have never played in an international tournament grand final, and after 25 years since they were coached by Paul Roos in Chicago in that first Can-Am Cup game, as Gelati will go back and he will take all 30 seconds. The USA Revolution will play for a championship in an intercontinental tournament. Gelati's left-footed kick is on the way. Gelati's left foot kick is off to the side. 9-9-63 for the USA. Canada 1-5-11. And I look at some of these guys who's been around a long time. You mentioned we look at the coach in Kyle Strensky, who played in 2 international cups, as they find Brady Walker, comes out to the near side. And I think about Justin Valley, who's played on there, and a lot of these guys watching back home, guys like John Loring, who played, Ryan McGettigan, who played in 3 international cups, including the one in 2011 where he played at the Olympic Stadium in Sydney. As this again is Gelati, who throws that one onto the left. They're going to get a chance to play for an intercontinental championship as the ball is kicked inside the Livy. Ball gets knocked down, trying to get that away. 30 seconds left to go. We have a man down behind play. He was getting up slowly. In fact, it is going to be Mason Shoebridge, and he is going to get the free kick as the seconds wind down. 25 seconds to go, 10 seconds to go. And that will do it. And for the first time in their history, the USA Revolution will play at an international tournament grand final. And they have gotten there in definitive fashion today with a 52-point win over their arch rivals for Canada, who gave 110%, but it wasn't enough. The final score in the second semifinal, it's the USA Revolution 9-9-63. The Canada Northwind 1-5-11. Congratulations to Kyle Strensky, to Justin Valley, and to Dustin Jones on the championship, and to all the guys out there. This was really, really tough ask for the Canadians. They're 0-4 now in this tournament, but you had to have the belief that it could take the game to the U.S., but they fought the entire way.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, they will take the pockets from this game that they like, but ultimately a U.S. team with a lot of weapons ended up being too strong. And I mentioned they don't have to wait too long. And just for clarification on the schedule, because tomorrow is the first time we get a mix of men's and women's games. The finals both go on Sunday, but Canada will play Colombia, both men's and women action, and also get the France-Great Britain game tomorrow morning on the women's side. But again, the Canadians, they pushed hard, but this U.S. team just well executed, and they are full marks for their showing. You have to remember they beat Ireland in the round robin, which I don't think a lot of people expected, and they're a team that'll have a chance to beat Ireland again in that grand final.
Well, we'll see how Ireland does, because the one thing is they really had to pull up, especially after getting battered and bruised in that U.S. match, and then of course they had to play in the difficult conditions today. But I think by and large they did a darn good job against Great Britain, and Ireland is not going to want to have to lose twice in the same tournament to the Americans. We're going to head down and find out who our Powerwood game MVP is. Powerwood Custom Cedar Supplies done right. We'll head down to the boundary line and find out the mystery person with David Smith.
I'm with number 3, Javon Mason of Portland, Oregon. Congratulations, a comprehensive victory for you guys today. What did you do right?
Yeah, thank you very much. We just stuck to the game plan, tried to find our forwards. We knew Canada was going to be a really tough opponent. They tried to play us tough every single time. We didn't look at their record or anything. It didn't matter in the semifinals. We just brought it to them early, and we just stayed clinical. It was really good.
How are the conditions out there? We had a bit of rain earlier. Sun has come out. There's some humidity. Still some wet grounds out there. How were the conditions? Were they a factor?
Not as much as you would think. The puddle, there's only a couple puddles. Everything else was actually really smooth. So I was really happy out there.
Great. In 2 days, you play Ireland in the final. What will the next 48 hours look, and what do you see as you play Ireland in the grand final?
Yeah, we've played a lot of footy already. That's 4 games already played. We played them really tough and beat them, so we know they're going to come out hungry. We just need to stick to our game plan, find our half forwards, move the ball as a cohesive team. That's everything.
All right, thank you, and congratulations. Good luck in 48 hours.
I appreciate
All right.
Thank you, David, and congratulations once again to Javon Mason of the Portland Steelheads, your Powerwood game MVP. Powerwood Custom Cedar Supplies done right. They are cedar suppliers based in Western Canada. Once again, repeating the final score, the USA Revolution 9-9-63, Canada 1-5-11. And before we head out, do we want to go over the schedule real quick if you want to grab that here? And tell you what we are going to have for day 9 of the tournament. Now, these are all going to be consolation matches, and we will tell you right now, this is what we have on the schedule. and this is subject to change, but we will tell you that it will kick things off with a women's match. It'll be a women's consolation at 9:30 a.m. as Les Gaulois de la France will take on the Great Britain Swans, and then at 11:30 another women's match as Los Jaguares de Colombia will play on the Canada Northern Lights, and then we'll have the men's game. It'll be the same matchup as Colombia and Canada starting at 1:30. Still a lot of great football, as we should say, if you are here in the Toronto area, to come out. We're going to very quickly listen into the song for the USA. And there it is. The USA Revolution for the 18th time in 19 tries, victorious over Canada. And as we said, if you are in the greater Toronto area, come out over the next 2 days, because not only are you going to see some great action, we're going to have some food vendors and some other stuff for you around the grounds as well. Great call, as always, by you, Pat. Sorry it didn't work out for the Canadians on this occasion, but, you know, they can be proud of their showing so far, I think.
For sure, and they've shown a lot, and the men in particular, obviously, they're going to try to get into the win column tomorrow. And the interesting quirk in the schedule, as losing semifinalists, they're the team that get to play every other team in the tournament. So a consolation piece for them, and they'll have an opportunity to finish strong tomorrow.
And I think that'll be a fun game against Colombia, because Colombia is coming into their first tournament. Well, once again, for Pat McNeil, for David Smith on the boundary, for Peter Holden here in the tent, for Adam and Nathan and all the camera folks and everybody else, and for Wyla out there, Kyle Strensky's dog, this is Brian Barish. We'll see you tomorrow for day 9 of the Transatlantic Cup. Until then, have a pleasant good evening.